What's up, YouTube? It's Paco, back again with another video. So today I'm going to go over my recent pickups from my Goodwill and my local used bookstore that is located in my library. This might be a little long one. However, it seems like I have a shopping addiction to books. The good news is that I got these books extremely cheap. When you go to Goodwill, I pay usually $1 to $1.65 per book. When I go to my local bookstore that's located in my library, it's 50 cents for a paperback and $1 for a hardcover. Now, the beautiful thing about that, even though that's beyond ridiculously cheap, they also do BOGOs as well on certain months. So let's get right into it. Countdown to Bin Laden by Chris Wallace. I'm a big time history buff when it comes to the Middle East conflicts, modern and ancient. So when I saw this, had to grab it. Stephen Ambrose, The Wild Blue. I've read a couple of Stephen Ambrose's books, and I can never learn enough about World War II. I'm looking forward to this one. The Men and Boys Who Flew the B-24s over Germany, 1944 to 1945. Relatively small book, and even has some decent black and white photos in there as well. Always cool, always cool. Again, another Stephen Ambrose book, Pegasus Brigade, also about World War II. And again, it's a little shorty, so this should be a extremely easy read. And again, I really like Stephen Ambrose's work and can never get enough about World War II. So I'm happy I found this one. Now, I've never heard of this book. However, I'm big on pirate history. So Blackbeard by Margaret Hoffman. I look forward to getting into this one. This one's decently sized, nothing too crazy. So again, it should be a relatively quick read. But I read Born to be Hanged. I read it last year, and it was a very interesting book. And I realized I don't know too much about pirates, so always good to expand knowledge on that. Handsome Johnny by Lee Server. So this is a mafia book, kind of a thick boy, but I have probably read about 30 or so mafia related history books. I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I am definitely no novice when it comes to organized crime, La Costa Nostra history, and so I'm always trying to learn more about that. Alright, moving on, we got Donald E. Westlake, The Axe. Now, I like Donald E. Westlake a lot. He has a lot of books under the publishing house Hard Case Crime, which I'm trying to get through all their books. Honestly, they have so many good authors. I just finished reading The First Quarry, aka The Broker, by Max Allan Collins, I believe his last name was. Anyways, great book. You got Stephen King in there, you got Lawrence Block in there, Donald E. Westlake, a ton of amazing authors that collaborate on hard case crime. So anytime I see a hard case crime author in a book, I'm gonna snatch it, because I really like hard-boiled crime noir, mystery, and suspense books. So I'm happy I found this. Speaking of hard-boiled crime, I also got Elmore Leonard's Be Cool, which is the sequel to I believe it's Get Shorty. Now, this was also made into a movie. I know Get Shorty was made into a movie. I've read a couple of Elmore Leonard's books that were westerns, and I see that he has done a decent size stack of hard-boiled crime noir mystery novels as well. So I'm probably going to have to read Get Shorty first. Probably going to get that from my local library, read that, and then go on to this. Now, Louis L'Amour. A lot of people love to talk shit about this guy because he pumped out so many books in his time. Me personally, I've never read a Louis L'Amour Western that I didn't find interesting. So, as much as people say, oh, it's just went to the bookstore and all there was Louis L'Amour Westerns. Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds like a great store to me, guys. I don't know. But I never knew he did anything to do with pirates. So again, keeping with the Blackbird pirate theme, The Walking Drum, and this is a decent sized book. Something about these books though is they look big, but once you start getting into it, the pages just kind of fly by. So I'm looking forward to this. Now I don't usually go for fantasy at all. Like I try. I read The Gunslinger last year by Stephen King, and it was kind of like a fever dream. Took me a little bit to try to understand what all was going on with it. I started the drawing of 3 a couple months ago. I made it to like 50 pages. I'll probably get back on it here shortly because I hate starting a book and not finishing it unless it's absolutely terrible, which it wasn't absolutely terrible. I just found another book that I was reading more interesting, I guess. And so this right here is Robin Hobb's Mad Ship, which is the second book of the Live Ship Traders trilogy. So again, I'm going to have to get the first book from my library, read it before I dive into this one. This is obviously an old printing. I know she has written so many books. And when I was on TikTok, I recently got off of all social media besides this, what you are watching. Everyone could not stop it talking about Robin Hobb, and I saw it at the bookstore for 50 cents. Gave it a shot. We'll see in the upcoming months if it was worth the 50 cents. I'm not a gambling man, but I would put money on that it'll do a decent job for 50 cents for sure. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. And by the way, guys, I look forward to reading all these books. The main, I guess, anxiety that I have is not being able to read as many books as humanly possible before I pass. So I'm always looking forward to read. Now this one, okay, so a little backstory. I was raised Irish Roman Catholic, and then I became an atheist, and then agnostic, and then I came back to Christianity recently. And with that, I also came with the thirst of trying to learn as much as possible about Christianity. And so when I saw this, St. Augustine's Confessions, I thought, you know what? I need to expand my knowledge in this for sure. If you're atheist, if you're agnostic, if you're Islam, Jewish, I really don't care. But if you're into reading and you like the kind of books that I like, please subscribe. Please give me recommendations to what you guys like. Be more than happy to hear and check it out, see what you guys got. Now, this is a book that I'm kind of a little anxious about, honestly. I'm not going to pretend to know how to say this guy's name. I know this is a classic, and every work that he's ever done is classic. I read Notes from the Underground a couple years back. I thought it was really good. Demons by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Again, don't quote me on pronunciation, guys, but this is a thick boy. We got over 700 pages. Over 700 pages of classical Russian literature. this is going to be a difficult read for me. It might be easy for you. For me, I just know going into this, it will challenge me, so I'm looking forward to the challenge. All right, let's see what we got. We got David McCullough's. Again, guys, my pronunciations are off. Bear with me. Truman. Okay, so first of all, I've read a couple from this author, David McCullough, which I found out recently. He was also a member of the Skull and Bones fraternity, which I'll do a video on that in terms of books that I like to call loyal to the foil, as in tinfoil hats, and it'll be about all the different historical books that kind of open my eyes to the way things are. Some of them conspiratorial, a lot of them just proven facts that no one likes to talk about or no one really knows. So, with that being said, I look forward to getting through this book. I mean, these books usually take me about a month to read if I'm being serious with them. But we're looking at over 900 pages. So we'll see what Truman was all about through the eyes of David McCullough. Again and again and again, guys, I do not read one book on a historical subject and then take that as a basis for my entire opinion on the historical event. I believe that you need to research all different points of view and all different angles of the historical event, and then come to your own conclusion of how things happened through the lens of reality. I picked up Stephen King's Bag of Bones. I've read a ton of Stephen King. I know a lot of people either hate him or love him. Me personally, I don't really care for his political opinions. Me personally, I'm an independent. I don't sway right, left. I just believe they both sides kind of suck. However, and I know that they don't like a lot of the scenes that he's written in his life. Me, I sometimes I just kind of don't look into personal lives, and I just read a story for what it is, and he seems to always hit. I haven't read a Stephen King book that I was like, dude, that was trash. Like, I would never read that. I would never recommend that. I've never read a Stephen King book that was like that. So I'm happy I found this Bag of Bones, a thick one, but again with Stephen King, page turner. So this shouldn't be too difficult of a read. Now I did just finish this book. This book was outstanding. I highly recommend you reading this. I knew absolutely nothing about the Congo. I had no idea that Belgium had any hand whatsoever in developing the Congo. I use developing as a term very loosely because they pretty much just pillaged the entire country, first for its ivory and then later on for its rubber. He was a maniacal egomaniac that had a inferiority complex simply because Belgium was such a small country that it's even smaller than the state of West Virginia. But so he got a couple people that have been on expeditions to go out and start settling, and yeah, he just took a bunch of resources out. Huge genocide that happened. I know a lot of historical people like to, well, technically it wasn't a genocide because he didn't go around specifically killing only a certain group of people because they were that people. Look, dude, that's cool that you have an opinion like that can break down a definition that way. Me personally, I feel like even if you got some of the natives to turn against their other natives and kill them for not filling up rubber baskets that they had to walk miles with on top of their heads, uh, to me that's slave labor. To me that is genocide, and it's a harrowing, horrible story that needs to be talked about more. I had no idea any of this happened. Um, but yeah, I would definitely check this out. Again, and the cool thing about it was the whole story kind of broke because of an investigative journalist who was friends with Sir Conan Doyle, who was the author of Sherlock Holmes. So, again, King Leopold's Ghost by Adam. Okay, let's see. Hochschild. Again, guys, you guys see the title. I can pronounce the title perfectly. First name, type it in Google, you'll find this book. Don't go off of my pronunciation of the last names of authors, but get this book. So I read this book, and I know I'm going to reread it in the next few years because it was such a great book. Very easy read, and definitely check it out. Alright, moving on. Alright, so Born in Blood, The Lost Secrets of Freemasonry. Now, this kind of goes in line with Loyal to the Foil type stuff. And I grabbed it off the shelf simply because it has something to do with Freemasonry, which this country was kind of founded on. And on top of that, it looked like an extremely old book. And as I was looking for the edition of it, which we'll check right now, copyright 1989, blah, 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 blah. It looks like this is, in fact, a first edition, okay? But what really caught my eye was the fact that, you see, John J. Robinson is the author, and who signed it but John J. Robinson. And he left a note to Duncan E. McCream, a dedicated Freemason? Freeman? I don't know how to decipher that doctor's signature, but I thought it was cool. Whenever I see a book at the Goodwill that's signed by an author or signed by someone that's in the book, I always pick it up. It doesn't have monetary value, but it is pretty cool because I do feel it is kind of collecting history at that point. Moving on, we're almost done, guys. Ohio and Erie Canal. I love these books. The only problem with these books is they are expensive. They're like $20 each, 20 to 30 bucks. However, I saw this at my local Goodwill. I go to the local canal, Ohio Erie Canal, every summer to walk the towpath. And so I saw this and I thought it was really cool. Lo and behold, a lot of people don't know that the Erie towpath actually created a president. Andrew Garfield or James Garfield. Bad memory, guys. Anyways, James Garfield tried being one of these workers, and on his first day on the job, let's see if we can get a. Yeah, he tried to be one of these dudes, and he couldn't hack it on his first day, and I think he actually broke his leg, and from that point he realized, like, you know what, working hands with as a working man ain't for me. I'm going to get into politics, and that's what he did until he got shot, unfortunately. So very cool that I got this piece of history. Ohio Northeast history, very cheap. So I was happy about that. Um, the Secret History, the Secret Service, the Hidden History, anything to do with hidden history or not talked about historical events, I always pick up. Again, loyal to the foil. I'm always trying to uh, get under historical events that are not talked about regularly. So I'm really happy I found this. And last one, Founding Myths. I know absolutely nothing about this book by Ray Raphael. Um, Book is supposedly a wake up call. We'll see. This looks like this might be borderlining opinion, but we'll find out. Maybe it's an amazing book, and in a couple months, you guys will hear me rant and rave about this book. So I look forward to it. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. I'm on Fable, Storygraph, and yeah, again, this is my channel. I'm just trying to find a community of people that read the same type of genre of books that I do. And if you guys have any recommendations or any comments on how I can improve these videos, feel free to drop them in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I don't care what you do. I'm just happy you're here. Thanks for being here. Have a good one.